Volume 3, Book 29, Number 50, narrated by Abdullah bin Abu Qatada, that his father had told him that Allah's apostle set out for Hajj, and so did his companions. He sent a batch of his companions by another route, and Abu Qatada was one of them. The Prophet said to them, "Proceed along the seashore till we meet all together." So they took the route of the seashore, and when they started all of them assumed ihram except Abu Qatada. While they were proceeding on, his companions saw a group of onagers. Abu Qatada chased the onagers and attacked and wounded a she-onager. They got down and ate some of its meat and said to each other, "How do we eat the meat of the game while we are in a state of ihram?" So they carried the rest of the she-onager's meat, and when they met Allah's apostle they asked, saying, "O Allah's apostle, we assumed ihram with the exception of Abu Qatada, and we saw a group of onagers. Abu Qatada attacked them and wounded a she-onager from them, then we got down and ate from its meat. Later we said to each other, how do we eat the meat of the game, and we are in a state of ihram? So we carried the rest of its meat." The Prophet asked, "Did any one of you order Abu Qatada to attack it or point at it?" They replied in the negative. He said, "Then eat what is left of its meat." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 51, narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas from Asab bin Jathama al-Laythi that the latter presented an onager to Allah's apostle while he was at Al-Abwa, or at Wadan, and he refused it. On noticing the signs of some unpleasant feeling of disappointment on his Asab's face, the Prophet said to him, "I have only returned it because I am muhrim." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 52, narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. Allah's apostle said, "It is not sinful of a muhrim to kill 5 kinds of animals." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 53, narrated by one of the wives of the Prophet. The Prophet said, "A muhrim can kill 5 kinds of animals." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 54, narrated by Hafsa. Allah's apostle said, "It is not sinful of a muhrim to kill 5 kinds of animals, namely, the crow, the kite, the mouse, the scorpion, and the rabid dog." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 55, narrated by Aisha. Allah's apostle said, 5 kinds of animals are harmful and could be killed in the haram sanctuary. These are the crow, the kite, the scorpion, the mouse, and the rabid dog. Volume 3, Book 29, Number 56, narrated by Abdullah. While we were in the company of the Prophet in a cave at Mina, when Surat wal Mursalat were revealed and he recited it and I heard it, directly from his mouth as soon as he recited its revelation. Suddenly a snake sprang at us and the Prophet ordered us, "Kill it." We ran to kill it but it escaped quickly. The Prophet said, "It has escaped your evil and you too have escaped its evil." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 57, narrated by Aisha, the wife of the Prophet. Allah's apostle called the salamander a bad animal, but I did not hear him ordering it to be killed. Volume 3, Book 29, Number 58, narrated by Said bin Abu. Said al-Makburi Abu Shurai al-Adawi said that he had said to Amr bin Sa'id when he was sending the troops to Mecca to fight Abdullah bin Az-Zubair, "O chief, allow me to tell you what Allah's apostle said on the day following the conquest of Mecca. My ears heard that and my heart understood it thoroughly. And I saw with my own eyes the Prophet when he, after glorifying and praising Allah, started saying, 'Allah, not the people, made Mecca a sanctuary, so anybody who has belief in Allah and the last day should neither shed blood in it, nor should he cut down its trees. If anybody argues, that fighting in it is permissible on the basis that Allah's apostle did fight in Mecca, say to him, Allah allowed his apostle and did not allow you. Allah allowed me only for a few hours on that day of the conquest, and today its sanctity is valid as it was before. So those who are present should inform those who are absent concerning this fact." Abu Shurai was asked, "What did Amr reply?" Amr said, "O Abu Shurai, I know better than you in this respect. Mecca does not give protection to a sinner, a murderer, or a thief." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 59, narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "Allah has made Mecca a sanctuary, so it was a sanctuary before me and will continue to be a sanctuary after me. It was made legal for me, that is, I was allowed to fight in it, for a few hours of a day. It is not allowed to uproot its shrubs or to cut its trees or to chase or disturb its game or to pick up its lucata, fallen things, except by a person who would announce that, what he has found, publicly." Al-Abbas said, "O Allah's apostle, except al-Adkir, a kind of grass, for it is used, by our goldsmiths and for our graves." The Prophet then said, "Except al-Idkir." Ikrimah said, "Do you know what chasing or disturbing the game means? It means driving it out of the shade to occupy its place." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 60, narrated by Ibn Abbas. On the day of the conquest of Mecca, the Prophet said, "There is no more emigration from Mecca, but jihad and intentions, and whenever you are called for jihad, you should go immediately. No doubt Allah has made this place, Mecca, a sanctuary since the creation of the heavens and the earth, and will remain a sanctuary till the day of resurrection, as Allah has ordained its sanctity. Fighting was not permissible in it for anyone before me, and even for me it was allowed only for a portion of a day. So it is a sanctuary with Allah's sanctity till the day of resurrection. Its thorns should not be uprooted and its game should not be chased, and its lukata, fallen things, should not be picked up except by one who would announce that publicly, and its vegetation, grass etc., should not be cut." Al-Umar used to say to me, "Would you like to see the Prophet at the time when he is inspired divinely?" So it happened that he was inspired then, and when the inspiration was over, the Prophet said to that man, "Do in your Arafat." He fell from his mount and his neck was crushed by it. The Prophet said, "Wash the deceased with water and cedar and shroud him in 2 pieces of cloth, and neither perfume him nor cover his head, for Allah will resurrect him on the day of resurrection, and he will be reciting Talbiyah." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 75, narrated by Ibn Abbas. While a man was standing with the Prophet at Arafat, he fell from his mount and his neck was crushed by it. The Prophet said, "Wash the deceased with water and cedar and shroud him in 2 pieces of cloth, and neither perfume him nor cover his head, for Allah will resurrect him on the day of resurrection, and he will be reciting Talbiyah." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 76, narrated by Ibn Abbas. A man was in the company of the Prophet, and his she-camel crushed his neck while he was in a state of ihram, and he died. Allah's apostle said, "Wash him with water and cedar and shroud him in his 2 garments, neither perfume him nor cover his head, for he will be resurrected on the day of resurrection, reciting Talbiyah." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 77, narrated by Ibn Abbas. A woman from the tribe of Juhayna came to the Prophet and said, "My mother had vowed to perform Hajj, but she died before performing it. May I perform Hajj on my mother's behalf?" The Prophet replied, "Perform Hajj on her behalf. Had there been a debt on your mother, would you have paid it or not? So pay Allah's debt as he has more right to be paid." Volume 3, Book 29, Number 78, narrated by Ibn Abbas. A woman from the tribe of Qatham came in the year of Hajjat-ul-Wada of the Prophet, and said, "O Allah's apostle, my father has come under Allah's obligation of performing Hajj, but he is a very old man and cannot sit properly on his mount. Will the obligation be fulfilled if I perform Hajj on his behalf?" The Prophet replied in the affirmative. Volume 3, Book 29, Number 79, narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas. Al-Fadl was riding behind the Prophet, and a woman from the tribe of Qatham came up. Al-Fadl started looking at her, and she looked at him. The Prophet turned Al-Fadl's face to the other side. She said, "My father has come under Allah's obligation of performing Hajj, but he is a very old man and cannot sit properly on his mount. Shall I perform Hajj on his behalf?" The Prophet replied in the affirmative. That happened during Hajjat-ul-Wada of the Prophet, Volume 3, Book 29, Number 80, narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet sent me to Mina with the luggage from Jam, i.e. Al-Muzdalifah, at night. Volume 3, Book 29, Number 81, narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas. I came riding on my she-ass and had just then attained the age of puberty. Allah's apostle was praying at Mina. I passed in front of a part of the first row and then dismounted from it, and the animal started grazing. I aligned with the people behind Allah's apostle. The sub-narrator added that happened in Mina during the Prophet's Hajjat-ul-Wada. Volume 3, Book 29, Number 82, narrated by As-Sa'ib bin Yazid. While in the company of my parents, I was made to perform Hajj with Allah's apostle, and I was a 7-year-old boy then. Fath al-Bari, p.443, vol 4, Volume 3, Book 29, Number 83, narrated by Al-Ju'aid bin Abdurrahman. I heard Umar bin Abdul Aziz telling about As-Sa'ib bin Yazid that he had performed Hajj while carried with the belongings of the Prophet. Volume 3, Book 29, Number 84, narrated by Aisha, mother of the faithful believers. I said, "O Allah's apostle, shouldn't we participate in holy battles and jihad along with you?" He replied, "The best and the most superior jihad for women is Hajj, which is accepted by Allah." Aisha added, Ever since I heard that from Allah's Apostle, I have determined not to miss Hajj. Volume 3, Book 29, number 85, narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "A woman should not travel except with a du mahram, her husband or a man with whom that woman cannot marry at all according to the Islamic jurisprudence, and no man may visit her except in the presence of a du mahram." A man got up and said, "O Allah's Apostle, I intend to go to such and such an army, and my wife wants to perform Hajj." The Prophet said to him, "Go along with her to Hajj." Volume 3, Book 29, number 86, narrated by Ibn Abbas. When the Prophet returned after performing his Hajj, he asked Sinan al-Ansari, "What did forbid you to perform Hajj?" She replied, "Father of so-and-so, that is her husband, had 2 camels and he performed Hajj on one of them, and the second is used for the irrigation of our land." The Prophet said to her, "Perform Umrah in the month of Ramadan, as it is equivalent to Hajj or Hajj with me, in reward." Volume 3, Book 29, number 87, narrated by Qaza'a, the slave of Ziyad Abu Sa'id, who participated in 12 Ghazawat with the Prophet, said, "I heard 4 things from Allah's Apostle, or I narrate them from the Prophet, which won my admiration and appreciation. They are, 1. No lady should travel without her husband or without a du mahram for a 2 days' journey. 2. No fasting is permissible on 2 days of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. 3. No prayer may be offered after 2 prayers, after the Asr prayer till the sun set and after the morning prayer till the sun rises. 4. Not to travel, for visiting, except for 3 mosques, Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, my mosque in Medina, and Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem." Volume 3, Book 29, number 88, narrated by Anas. The Prophet saw an old man walking supported by his 2 sons and asked about him. The people informed him that he had vowed to go on foot to the Kaaba. He said, "Allah is not in need of this old man's torturing himself," and ordered him to ride. Volume 3, Book 29, number 89, narrated by Uqba bin Amir. My sister vowed to go on foot to the Kaaba, and she asked me to take the verdict of the Prophet about it. So I did, and the Prophet said, "She should walk and also should ride." Volume 3, Book 29, number 90, narrated by Abu Lakair from Uqba as above. Share the knowledge with friends and subscribe to the channel.